So, John, if you could pick any actor to star in a film directed by you, where you were going to put them out of their comfort zone, who would you pick and what would you have them do?
Okay, well, first of all, if I was a film director, what kind of film director do you see me as?
I see you as like a sort of David Lynch thing, but with more glitter.
Oh, okay, I can go with that. David Lynch, but with more glitter. Yeah, I could totally get on board with that. So, yeah, surrealism mixed with flamboyance. I like it. Okay, yes, I would agree. I think that's exactly the kind of film I would make. So I think I'd want to cast someone who like takes themselves way too seriously.
Okay.
Like Joaquin Phoenix or a Christian Bale or like maybe even like a Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
And then just put them in some real crap.
Yeah.
Like, but they have to commit to it, but not in a way that, not like a Joker kind of thing where they have to say, oh, but it really means something. Like, they just have to accept that they're in a piece of nonsense.
What if it was a Jared Leto type and you made him do something that he knew was absolute shite and there was no getting around it, and he's just like, oh my god, people are going to have the same reaction as the Joker again, I can't do this.
I think the fact is that I'm directing this and I just don't want to spend that much time around Jared Leto. So.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Some films are fine just the way they are. Other films sometimes take it way too far. But really, how bad could it get? Let's go beyond the box set.
Welcome everybody to Beyond the Box Set, the podcast where today we are pitching prequels, sequels and spin-offs to Ed Wood. Because somebody picked it.
Yes, that's generally how this works. One of us picks a film, the other one watches it.
We'll also be pitching some drinking games and hearing from our listeners with the submissions that they've posted on Facebook and Twitter. But first we're going to talk about some of our favourite moments and give a bit of a plot summary. I'm Harry, the host with the most chance of becoming a film director.
Why?
Of you and me?
Yeah.
I mean, I've directed little movies and offices before. I guess I technically direct a weekly pub quiz live on YouTube.
You're a director now because you stick a camera in front of your face and talk at it for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that not directing?
No, sure, absolutely.
I mean, I make more video content than you. Let's be honest.
Okay, fair, yeah. I'm beginning to see how like lockdown might start to affect you even more if this goes on. You might just start making little short movies. That's getting increasingly more surreal. Anyway,
joining me as always, it's the key grip of the podcast. It's John Lucas.
Wow, that is a new low. Key grip. Well, at least I'm the key grip, I guess. You know, not just a regular old grip.
You're not backup grip.
No, exactly. Assistant grip. Yeah.
Worst boy, yeah. Oh, yeah. You said that weird then. Worst boy. Okay, anyway, enough of whatever this is, this intro we're doing. Ed Wood then, John. Why did you choose this one?
I chose this because I really like this film. And also, it's been on the back burner for a while, but then over on our Patreon recently, friend of the pod, Martin Gardner, requested that we do a similar styled kind of 1950s B-movie called The Brain That Wouldn't Die, which is kind of not an Ed Wood movie, but very much in the style of Ed Wood movies, kind of
totally.
just schlocky crap from the 1950s, sci-fi with a slice of horror, creaky sets and bad acting and all the stuff that you'd expect from an Ed Wood movie. And so I thought, well, why not? Now's as good a time as any for this. So I just thought I'd put it into circulation.
Yeah.
So what did you think?
Now, I'd like to say that I didn't like it.
Okay. Were you primed to not like it before you watched it? Was it like something about it like Johnny Depp, Tim Burton?
Yeah, I think I was definitely primed not to like it. Just like, I'm not the biggest fan of Johnny Depp. I think just presently, like since the mid-noughties, he's got a bit much.
Oh, absolutely. Well, for me, that was why it was nice to watch this and remember, like, oh, he used to be charming. Yeah,
and like he is very good in this. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was primed not to like it for that. And Tim Burton has gone down a very similar route, doing Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Alice in Wonderland and some other things. I mean, he can still pull it out of the bag though, but just that's kind of given him a reputation in my own head that's a little bit hard to get past.
Sure.
So I kind of went into it just not particularly excited for it. I saw that it's over 2 hours as well, so that probably means it's going to be a bit slow at points, which it was.
It is a scooch too long, I'll give you that.
Yeah. I guess I was trying not to like it, but it still made me laugh multiple times.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's why I say, like, I'd like to say I didn't like it, but I feel like that's not quite true. That doesn't really sum it up.
Okay, well, I'm good. I'm glad that you enjoyed aspects of it, at least. Like, I agree. Like, Tim Burton's gone quite downhill in my opinion, just with all the Disney movies, and he seems to have like lost his mojo quite dramatically lately. Mm-hmm. And obviously, Johnny Depp's whole thing has become quite annoying at this point. But yeah, again, just like watching Johnny Depp back on this and thinking, oh yeah, he was charming once. Also, this reminded me, oh yeah, Tim Burton used to make really good movies, and for me, this is really one of them. Like, for me, this is such a like quintessential Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
It's very similar.
I'm not the biggest Tim Burton fan, even of like his big films, like say Edward Scissorhands. I didn't really like it, but I think partly that's because that's one of the films that's aimed at a slightly younger audience, and it only works to watch it as an adult if you have the nostalgia for it. So like that didn't really land for me either. There's very few Tim Burton films that I like.
Well, which ones do you like? Is it just the Batman ones?
To be honest, I like the first Batman. I've not actually seen. Is it Batman Returns? I think.
The one with Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman?
Batman Returns. Yeah,
that's the best one.
I've seen it. Sorry, I was going to say I've not seen it more than once.
Okay,
so I don't really know it very well. And I did quite enjoy Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, we did. Yes, that was a good one. We both enjoyed that one. Great.
Yeah.
So where does this one sit for you compared to like Scissorhands and also Mars Attacks, which I think this is very similar to Mars Attacks in some ways?
Yeah, I suppose.
Because you weren't that keen on Mars Attacks at the time, I remember.
No, I wasn't, but I was particularly against anything with Glenn Close in it.
True, yeah. And she's not in this one, so, you know, score.
No, I think I enjoyed this a bit. You know, I really don't know, John. It's been a while since I've seen any of those films.
Okay. But you think you enjoyed this one probably a little bit more?
Same as the others, yeah.
Oh, a little bit. Okay, so a modest success for you then. Not something you're raving about, but not something that you really hated.
No, this isn't going to go down in history books as the worst film you've ever chosen.
Well, that's good.
By the quality of the film, at least.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what delightfully faint praise. Thank you.
Mr. Philbin? Ed Wood. Yeah, listen, I haven't been able to get through, so I just showed up. Yeah, right out front. So we gonna be working together? Really? Worst film you ever saw? Well, my next one will be better. Hello? Hello?
Okay, enough about my opinions. Go on, what do you think of this? Talk about it for a bit.
Yeah, I just find this film to be incredibly charming. It's one of those films that could so easily go wrong in so many different ways. You know, it could just be sneering at the character. It's got so many stuff that could be like, yikes. You've got Bill Murray playing a transgendered person. Mm-hmm. You've got Ed Wood is a transvestite, and you know,
transvestite an okay word?
I think it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Transvestite is just. It's not an identity in the way that being transgendered is. It's like it's just somebody who enjoys dressing as a woman but doesn't identify as a woman.
Okay, cool.
I don't think it's a negative word.
Sure. Well,
I don't think I don't know what the alternative. I don't know what the alternative word would be. Like
cross-dresser.
I feel like that might be more pejorative. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't think either of them are like hate terms because it's not. It's not like being transgendered or being transgendered is like being gay or being straight. It's an identity. It's not just something you enjoy doing. Like Edward says throughout this film, I'm not gay. I just like wearing women's clothes. So I just felt like there was a lot of stuff that this film could have done to be really insensitive or just really mean-spirited. Mm-hmm. But it actually comes out as like this weird little celebration of blind optimism and like just pursuing what you love against all odds.
Yeah.
Which I really like because like this film is very aware that Ed Wood is a terrible director.
Yes.
Like he's making really bad films. But it always shows you just his positive attitude and how he really just bounces back from criticism all the time, and it shows you how like people around him fall in love with him in this strange way. Like one of the bits in the movie I really like is when near the end when they're all getting baptized because the church is funding Plan 9 from Outer Space, And Bill Murray says, how do you get people to do this, Ed? How do you get all of your friends and family to come together and get baptized so you can make a movie? And it's just like, I just love that aspect of it, that just like they're this weird little troop of outsiders that just kind of rally around him. And you can tell it comes from, again, like Mars Attacks. It's really like, these are obviously films that Tim Burton watched as a kid and just loved. And it's just a real, like, Mars Attacks is his attempt at making one of those films, and this is just like a celebration of the people who made those kind of films. So they're a really good like double feature, I think, of two like Tim Burton films that I really like.
Yeah, I guess
you could on such back to back. Yeah, so yeah, I just really like that, and I think that Johnny Depp is really, really. I think it's one of his best performances. I think he really captures the enthusiasm of the guy and the charm of the guy, but also the slight kind of delusion of him. But it's just a great comedic performance. Like, I really liked The Disaster Artist. I thought it was great, but I thought that was more like, oh, here's this weirdo, and we're going to just like play up all of the weird things about him, because I think it's really hard to humanize Tommy Wiseau because there's so little that you know about him. Yeah. Like he is just this weird character almost. No one knows who the real person behind him is, whereas Johnny Depp's playing a much more like human person, you know. And I think it's just so funny and charming, and in a way that you actually like the guy and you want him to succeed, and you're not like pointing and laughing at him like. And the relationship between him and we'll get into it, but the relationship between him and Bela Lugosi is really sweet and nice, and you can see how even though he's putting him in bad movies, he's actually doing a lot of good for him, because at least he's not ignoring him, and they strike up this very warm and very genuine friendship, which I thought was really nicely played.
It was, yeah. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Do you know that the actor Bela Lugosi got a Oscar nomination for this role?
Do you mean the actor who played Bela Lugosi?
Is that not what I said? That's what I meant to say, at least.
Yeah. Martin Landau won an Oscar, actually. He won.
Won, sorry.
Yeah, yes. He won an Oscar for that. But, yeah, deservedly so. He's really fantastic. Like, the two of them together like are such and a fantastic double act, but I just think it's such a great, showy performance.
Action.
Wait! Pull the string! Pull the string!
Cut.
Perfect.
Okay, yeah. So what else have you got to say about Ed Wood?
Mostly just that it's surprisingly funny. It had so many moments that really delighted me and really made me laugh. Like,
at first I thought he was going to be a con artist.
Okay,
he goes into this meeting with a film producer, is it?
Yeah.
And he's trying to win the role, basically, as director of this film.
You mean when it's the Christine Jorgensen story, what they call the sex change movie? Obviously, that's not a politically correct term anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, and he says something like, "I've never told anybody this, not even my girlfriend." And I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Yeah. He's going to start doing a bit of a con or something. I like to dress up in women's clothing. I was like, oh, okay. Good con. Yeah, great. I like it. And then, no, that was just actually where it went.
That's who he is, yeah.
That was a very, very convenient meeting. I mean, I know that dressing up in women's clothing and having a sex change are two very different things.
Sure, yeah.
You know, you can see how the topic is similar. That was quite a convenient meeting for him.
Well, I think the idea is that he heard about that movie being made, and he was like, "This is the perfect movie for me. I can relate to this." So yeah. But he is kind of a con artist in a weird way, though. But he's kind of like a good-natured con artist. He is kind of a hustler.
Yeah,
he's working on the fringes of Hollywood, like hustling anyone he can get his hands on to try and get funding. But he's not. It seems like he's not just trying to get rich for money's sake or anything like that. It's quite pure intent. He's just hustling anyone he can just so he can make another movie, because he just loves making movies, even though he's really terrible at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just really enjoyed all of that. I thought everyone was really funny in this. Like, some people that I don't normally find that interesting as actors, like Sarah Jessica Parker, I'm not the biggest fan of, but she is so funny in this.
That joke that she makes, I forgot the exact joke, but it was like, and she's reading a review or something, and and she says like, "My face isn't shaped like a horse."
Yeah, exactly. Like, good on her for like taking that joke. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, she's one of my absolute favourites in this. She's just got so many funny lines. Like,
yeah.
Well, I thought he was dead.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, it's just a very entertaining. I will say you're right. It doesn't need to be over 2 hours. This could slice 20 minutes off. I think
I feel like the last maybe half hour kind of could have been cut out.
it did drag.
Like the whole
I think,
second film that he makes.
yeah.
I didn't really feel like it was necessary. I could see why, like, there was some interesting story there. But I really thought that the film was going to be, that Ed Wood was going to be about him making this one film and the struggles he has to go through to make this film, and then it comes out and, you know, the premiere maybe, and that's it. But then, no, there's a second film involved as well.
Yeah,
and it certainly
it's
had its merits because it really did sort of tie together the whole Bela Lugosi story in this.
Sure, yeah.
And that was definitely important.
Yeah, it's like it had to get to the point where he makes Plan 9 from Outer Space, because that's the famous one that everyone knows. But it felt like the making of Bride of the Atom, the middle one, and the first one as well, were a little bit more interesting as like film in terms of making this film, because when it gets to Plan 9 from Outer Space, it's like, oh, and then he made Plan 9 from Outer Space, and then the movie ends. Like, they didn't spend a lot of time on it. But yeah, I think all the stuff with Patricia Arquette kind of doesn't really land either. It feels like it's not really, that's his second girlfriend after Sarah Jessica Parker dumps him.
Yeah.
Like, it's sweet, but it's like, it's too late in the movie for us to start caring about another love story. And it just kind of drags on a little bit.
That's kind of what I thought too.
Yeah. So yeah, it does go on a little bit too long. I think the first hour is like really, really charming. And then there's obviously bits throughout that are really good, but it could have been trimmed a little bit. But yeah, minor concerns. On the whole, I was really pleasantly surprised rewatching this, how much I still liked it.
Good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. That's very passive aggressive. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Well, yeah. Not gonna lie.
What a show. Everyone was terrific. Paul, your second act monologue actually gave me the chills.
Oh, thanks, Eddie.
I got the early edition, hot off the presses.
This is the big moment.
Oh, what does that old queen know? She didn't even show. Sent her copyboy to do the dirty work. Screw you, Miss Crowley.
Do I really have a face like a horse?
What does ostentatious mean?
Hey, it's not that bad. You can't concentrate on the negative. Look, he's got some nice things to say here. The soldiers' costumes are very realistic. That's positive.
Rave of the century.
Well, I've seen a lot worse reviews. I've seen reviews where they didn't even mention the costumes.
Do you have any more to say on it, or should we do drinking games?
Well, that's the plot summary, so the idea would be to move on to something else, yeah.
Great, okay, so, first thing I've got. Drink whenever somebody alludes to Bela Lugosi's death.
Oh, yeah, I've got that too. Drink anytime someone thinks Bela Lugosi is dead. It's a great little runner in this film.
Thinks he's dead, or there's any hints, you know, like, say, you first meet him, he's lying in a coffin.
Yeah. Well, I like how this joke develops. Like, it starts off like, well, I thought he was dead. No, he's very much alive. Like, 8 or 9 times in the film, someone says, isn't he dead? No, he's very much alive.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, the church people say, isn't he dead? And Edward has to be like, yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but, you know, we'll work around that.
Yeah, I've got his last footage. Yeah. All of that was great. Really great running joke. Yeah.
Sweetie, you won't believe it. I've got incredible news.
You got the job.
No, I didn't get the job, but something better happened.
Better than not getting the job.
Yes. I met a movie star. Somebody really big.
Who? Robert Taylor?
No, a horror movie star.
Boris Karloff?
Close. The other one.
You met Basil Rathbone.
Oh, to heck with you. I met Bela Lugosi.
Well, I thought he was dead.
No, he's very much alive. Well, sort of.
Okay, very good. Here's one. Drink for dissolve fades.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Tim Burton loves the dissolve fade, especially in this movie.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Because it's all shot in black and white as well. That's what I like about this film. It's shot like the movies it's kind of parodying. Or the films
that is a good little touch.
Yeah, like all the shadows are really like, you know, intense, and there's loads of like old-fashioned film techniques like dissolve fades and wipes and stuff, and it's just great. I love it. I love anything like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. That is really good. Drink whenever Johnny Depp does that stupid little grin.
Oh yes, it's that mildly manic, desperate, like thinking on his feet kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very good at that. Well, similarly, I had drink every time Johnny Depp's hair falls out of place.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
This is actually a really good drinking game for this film because he's got like this very like 1950s like slicked back hair, but every so often like a strand of it will fall down when he's particularly stressed out or he's like having a difficult moment, and it's just it's something you really notice it if you start looking out for it.
Yeah,
it's a good one to drink on.
Drink whenever the first take is perfect.
Oh yes, cut perfect. Moving on. Yeah, it's fantastic. I don't think he ever takes a second take in the entire movie.
No.
Like, there's a great joke here when Lobo, the Swedish wrestler, he's playing like this Igor kind of character, and he has to like leave the room, he has to leave the scene, he has to stumble out of a door, and he walks through, and because he's like an absolute giant, he really is, the actor is like the Mountain from Game of Thrones. It's like this ridiculously giant person. He literally doesn't fit through the door. So he walks through, and the doors are all made of like cardboard, the really cheap sets. So he walks through and he accidentally bangs it, and the entire set shakes, and then it's like, cut, print, great, moving on. And then one of the stage directors is kind of like, don't you want to do that again? He couldn't get through the door, he was having a little bit of trouble there. And Ed Wood's like, yeah, but in reality that's a struggle he'd be facing every day, so it's realism. It's just stuff like that really tickle me. I like
it later on when they're in the graveyard, and this guy's getting out of a grave and he gets stuck, and he's just like, oh, you two just go and help him out. And there's two people just literally lifting him out of the grave. And like, yep, great, cut, print, let's move on.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic.
Like, a cardboard gravestone fell over. You don't want to like fix that. Like, oh no, people won't notice that. Those are the little details. People don't watch films and notice the little details.
It's the big picture. Yeah. It really gave me a renewed appreciation for like what must have been behind the scenes of making The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
Yeah.
Like, it must have been so similar. Like, oh, no one will notice that. Just move on. Okay. Here's one. Drink for Angora.
Sure.
Which is the fabric that he has a fetish for.
Yeah, okay.
Like
I've got a similar one here. It's my last one. Drink for any reference to dressing in women's clothing.
Yeah, that works too. Anything with women's clothing. Yes. Okay, I've got a few more. Drink every time a woman is shown doing housework. Yeah, sure. I just really noticed that in it's obviously deliberate because it's like 1950s and probably quite tongue-in-cheek, but like anytime there's a scene with Sarah Jessica Parker or Patricia Arquette, they're like doing housework. Sarah Jessica Parker will either be like holding a big mixing bowl and just whisking for no reason, or she'll be like vacuuming under his feet. Patricia Arquette's always knitting. It just made me laugh that like the women in this film are always like very 1950s styled. Yeah. I just really enjoyed Sarah Jessica Parker's arc in this movie. Like in the first 20 minutes or so, she's really like bubbly and supportive and just like very sweet natured. And by the end, she's just this like bitter, chain smoking, like bitchy catty. Like she's just so like over it all by the end. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, Poodle, you made it. I wasn't sure you got my message.
Well, of course I made it. Today's the file clerk's big scene.
That's right.
I see the usual gang of misfits and dope addicts are here.
Janet, I want you straight.
Say, who's a lug?
I want you staying away from the old Willow's place.
Why, that's Tony McCoy. He will be portraying Lieutenant Dick Craig.
Really? How much money did he put up?
None. But his dad gave me 50 grand.
Wood Production's the mark of quality.
So that was the Ed Wood drinking games.
Sure, okay. Well, before we get to sequels, I'm going to do some quick plugging, if that's all right. Hope you don't mind.
Go for it. Plug away, Harry.
John.
Plug your heart out.
So, first of all, I've started doing a little YouTube series. Go to youtube.com/beyondtheboxset, and every Friday at 8 p.m, you can tune in live, where I'll do a pop culture quiz. So far, I've done Star Wars, I've done Harry Potter, and this coming Friday is going to be a Friends quiz.
Ooh, that should be popular.
Yeah. So you can tune in live at 8 o'clock this Friday, 8 p.m. British time this Friday, that is. Also, if you want to look at any of the other ones, they're all still on the channel. You can look back and, just pretend it's live. And, yeah. Maybe the comments won't be as active, but...
They're a lot of fun. Harry gets dressed up and everything. There's a whole set.
Yeah, I've put a lot of effort in it because, hey, I've got loads of time on my hands.
Indeed.
So, may as well. youtube.com/beyondtheboxset if you're interested. Links will be in the description. Do you want to try the Patreon spiel?
Sure. So in addition to Harry's weekly YouTube quiz, we also have a Patreon channel for those who enjoy the show. If you would like to hear more from us, we offer a range of incentives to say thank you to anyone who wishes to put a little bit of money our way, which we obviously use to, cover our subscription costs, technology, hosting, all that kind of things. So yeah, you can donate as much or as little as you like, as little as $2 a month, or, all the way up to 10,000, 20,000, whatever it is. Big money coming through. We've got some big ticket investors. But yeah, if you sign up to that, what we can offer in return, a weekly bonus show beyond the box set, which is where we would normally review cinema releases, but obviously that's not a thing right now. So instead, we are just reviewing a random assortment. We're letting our patrons decide things that they'd like us to watch, like old classics that maybe don't fit on the main show, films with sequels, television episodes, that kind of thing. We've had a few of those already. One of them inspired this very episode. It was The Brain That Wouldn't Die, which was a bit obscure for this main show, but makes perfect sense as a bonus show kind of review. So we've done that. We've got a few more coming down the line as well. We also offer extended episodes, extended cuts of these main episodes, just a little bit of extra content for you. You can also get a 30-second ad slot on the main show if you've got anything you'd like to promote, maybe your own podcast or your own business or just something you want to shout about. We'll put it on the show and promote it and run it on a regular basis. And in addition, you can also just get a bit closer to us. You can suggest an episode of the main show for us to do at some point. You can guest on it if you'd like to. That'd be a lot of fun. Just feel free to join us to talk about a film that you really like and help us pitch a sequel. And there's also a Facebook group you can join where you can get to know us a little bit better and also the other patrons. It's a lovely little spot on the internet. And is there anything else? I think.
Yeah, I think that's everything.
And that's it, yeah. So, yeah, just lots of nice little incentives there, all available for as little as £2 a month, $2 a month. And for more information, please just go to patreon.com/Beyond the Box Set.
Bonjour tout le monde, I'm Finn, and every Tuesday I host a podcast called Passport People, in which I talk to people from around the world about the places that matter to them. What is so special about each location? What makes each place tick? Where are they headed? To join us on our round-the-world trip, talking to a diverse range of fascinating people from an incredible variety of professional and cultural backgrounds, search for Passport People in Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts.
So, sequels, Harry. This week...
Something different.
Yeah, we decided to do something a little bit different this week because after watching Ed Wood, we kind of realised this is kind of a closed story. There's not really a whole lot you can do sequel-wise with this. So we thought we'd do something a little bit different, still staying on brand, but, lockdown, what better time to try something a little bit different with the format, to shake things up a little bit. So I thought what might be fun is this... film, Ed Wood, it ends at a certain point in Ed Wood's career when he makes Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is his most famous movie. But he continues on in Hollywood and makes several more films, none of which are particularly successful, all of which are, quite similarly so bad they're good, apparently. I've not seen any of them, I can't say for sure. But, that
could make either a really good or really bad marathon.
Yes, indeed. So I thought, since we haven't seen these movies, obviously, and they have some quite interesting titles, I thought we would... rescue some lost Ed Wood classics, because I'm sure very few of our listeners have watched these films either. I think Plan 9 from Outer Space and Glen or Glenda are probably the only two most anyone might have seen. So we're going to work on this together. It's a collaborative effort. I'm going to give you the titles of some Ed Wood movies, some genuine Ed Wood movies. These are real movie titles, and we are going to pitch our idea for what those films, we think those films are about, based on the title.
Okay, that sounds fun.
And then we'll look at the actual summary and find out how close we got. Okay?
Sure.
So, first movie, made after Ed Wood, was called Revenge of the Virgins.
Revenge of the Virgins. Okay. Well, it sounds like... I'm thinking something like one of those classic horrors where loads of people go away to the woods, like a cabin in the woods kind of thing.
A cabin in the woods scenario, yeah.
Yeah. So you know what's going on there, and that whole thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe a bunch of them survive, and then the sequel to that is, them trying to get their own back on.
I like that. Okay.
Them. Now I'm thinking some kind of 50s villain, so it's got to be like The Blob or something like that.
Okay. So, because everyone in a horror movie in those cabin in the woods scenarios, they're always virgins, right?
Yeah.
Only virgins survive.
Yeah. So
the survivors of the original attack we're going to go with The Blob?
Sure.
Yeah, so we have a movie...
Nah, the plot doesn't feel right. It does need to be more of like a single... Like, it's a man. Like, okay, but just maybe like it's Frankenstein or something, I don't know.
Like, a crazy mad scientist with a Frankenstein scenario, kind of. a crazy woodsman who's dabbling with the dead or something.
Yeah.
So a bunch of virgins go out into the woods for a camping trip or something, are terrorized by a local madman and a potentially a Frankenstein kind of creature, and the ones that escape are obviously the virgins, and they come back for revenge the next summer or something.
Yeah, that works.
So do you think they come back to attack the scientists or to rescue?
Yeah, I think so. So I think that they come back initially pretending to be, just normal, like people just going away on spring break or whatever.
Oh, it's like a honeypot situation
in the woods, and there's a twist half an hour into the movie. No, it's not that kind of movie. These characters have already lived this last year, and they've learnt from it.
Oh, it's a bit meta then.
Yeah.
Now, have they also learnt the Hollywood horror movie rules, and they're posing as virgins, but actually they've all had sex? Could
be, yeah, totally.
Although that would mean they were more susceptible to dying, because it's virgins who survive, so... No, maybe they stayed virgins.
That's right, yeah, maybe they stayed virgins.
They've stayed virgins, okay, cool, because that's the ultimate Hollywood.
They say that they've all stayed virgins, but two people, they've actually just been saying that they stayed virgins.
Right, okay.
This group of maybe 6 characters or whatever, they all made a pact, hey, this has just happened, so, until next summer, when we go back and get our revenge, none of us can have sex, because then as virgins, we're more likely going to survive. But then there's 2 people who just can't keep their hands off each other.
Yeah, they've waited a whole year. They've all abstained for an entire year to hold on to their virginity so they can go back and defeat this mad scientist and save their friends.
Yeah.
But then there's 2 that are like a couple that are really hot for each other, and the whole year they've been waiting, and then they get to this cabin in the woods and just the lust just overpowers them and they can't help themselves and they have sex and then that's it. They're doomed.
Yep. And so Revenge of the Virgins, initially because of those 2, but some other things go awry as well, it goes wrong for all of them, and all 6 of them end up dying.
Oh, so it's actually one of those dark horror movies where the mad scientist wins.
Yeah, I'd say it tries to be meta. Mm-hmm. And maybe it is meta, but ultimately the same thing does happen.
You can't escape it. So it goes all the way back around from meta to... What's the opposite of meta? Meta. Double meta. Meta squared. Okay. Shall we see how close we got?
Yeah.
Okay, so Revenge of the Virgins. This is the plot description. Tenderfoot Burton, what a name, and his wife join forces with an old prospector. So it's a Western movie. Tenderfoot Burton and his wife join forces with an old prospector to search for the rich gold strike of which the old-timer claims to know. So they're looking for gold in them there hills, classic old Western kind of thing.
Yeah.
Along with a couple of no-account gunslingers, they ride deep into the mountains to find the gold. So far, so Western, right? Yeah.
Where do the virgins come into this?
Unaware that the treasure is guarded by an all-female tribe of deadly, beautiful, and, most importantly, topless Indians.
Wow.
That sounds exploitative.
Wow, yeah.
So it's an old West, gold rush kind of movie that then becomes topless. I guess by Indians they mean Native Americans. Yeah. Just
be weird otherwise. Actually, that'd be an interesting movie. Make a movie that's an original sort of Western thing, and do it cowboys and Indians, but cowboys and people from India.
Oh, sure, yeah. How would that even work?
Is that inappropriate, or is that hilarious?
I'm just thinking, why would they be there?
Well, all the weird random questions, yes.
Sure, but are you casting people from the subcontinent of India to play Native Americans, or are they just a bunch of people from India who are there for no reason?
The latter, yeah.
They're just there for no reason, okay.
Actual Indians playing actual Indians, not
You could do
Native
a
Americans.
revisionist history, yeah, where Indians... people, as in people from the country of India, have also populated America.
Yeah,
that could be fun. Okay, well, that's not what this is.
As long as it's done in the right way.
You've got to get it. Yeah, I think it's important to get the right tone with that. It could very easily go off the rails, but yeah. So no, we weren't particularly close there. That was Ed Wood's attempt at a Western, apparently, Revenge of the Virgins.
Wow. What's next then?
Okay, number 2, Ed Wood film number 2. After the Oscar-winning success of Revenge of the Virgins, he moved on to Orgy of the Dead.
Orgy of the Dead.
Orgy of the Dead. What do we think Orgy of the Dead might be?
Well, initially I think it's the sequel to our pitch for Revenge of the Virgins.
Sure, yeah. We're making a franchise out of this. Yeah.
Don't really know where to go from there. What do you think?
So, Orgy of the Dead, I reckon this is set in the afterlife. Like,
yeah.
This is set in, like, hell or something.
Okay, now I think that might be a decent idea for what this title is, but I'm thinking, what would Ed Wood actually do?
No,
It's
you're right.
more
okay.
likely to be I don't know, zombie, vampire, like brought back from the dead sort of thing, and then they're all having sex.
Oh, okay, you know what?
It's probably his turn at like a classic horror movie.
Yeah, this is going to be a classic all-star monster movie. Like you know how they wanted to make the what was it called? The Dark Universe?
Dark Universe.
Yeah, this is Ed Wood's attempt at a Dark Universe. So it's going to bring together like Dracula and also werewolves and Frankenstein and all of the greats together. They are all brought together for some reason. Maybe they all end up at some mansion. Like they're all. Did they all get a letter or something? Would a werewolf open a letter?
Sure, yeah.
With its claws.
I mean, werewolves are just normal people for like most of the month.
Yeah. Oh, okay, right. So, a bunch of seemingly normal people receive a letter inviting them to a mysterious old mansion with promises of crazy wealth. Like, that come to this mansion and stay one night in this mansion and you could win a huge amount of money.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And so none of them know each other.
$1 million.
Yeah, none of them know each other. None of them know why they've been invited, but they all go. They all turn up. You got 5 or 6 people, and they're all like, "Well, why are we here? I don't know. Why are you here?" It's that kind. It's like Clue. It's that kind of setup where there's just a bunch of strangers in a house in an old creepy mansion in the middle of nowhere on a dark and stormy night. And as the night runs on, first of all, they don't know who's brought them here. They don't know who the host is. But as the night goes on, it turns out that all of them are, in fact, when the full moon comes up, different kinds of monsters.
Right,
so one is a vampire, one is a werewolf, one is a ghost, maybe.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and they all discover that they are all different undead creatures, should we say. One's a zombie, I guess, as well.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we need to bring in the orgy element somehow, though. I mean, do things just get sexy?
Okay, well, what's the gender ratio going on here?
Let's say 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe they need to have sex to lift a curse.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I would then go on to suggest maybe the curse is that they have to have the orgy. But I think it's more likely... I'm trying to guess what Ed Wood would have done.
Yeah, I feel like the orgy is going to be a net positive in his mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all we got. Do you want to...
Yeah. Sure. Well, let's see what actually happened then. See how close we were. Okay. A writer and his girlfriend crash their car and find themselves in a cemetery where they are forced to watch the dead dance for the Lord of the Dead.
Okay.
So there's a Lord of the Dead and all the other dead people are dancing for the Lord of the Dead.
And these two are forced to watch it.
Yeah. The Lord of the Dead is played by Criswell, who was the fake fortune teller from the film. A bevy of dancing strippers outfitted in various motifs make up the bulk of this movie, although it oddly also features a werewolf and a mummy. So I wasn't a million miles off.
No?
Werewolf, mummy, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
The film has little to no storyline. About 70 minutes of the film's running time features topless female dancers without any dialogue. So
70 minutes.
70
minutes without any dialogue.
Yeah. It's just dancing ladies. Yeah. Harry, this was pre-Pornhub. People had to get their kicks where they could find them.
I know that there's topless women in there.
Yeah.
But that sounds very boring.
Yeah. 70 minutes is too long for any kind of
yeah,
anything like that. I don't want to watch that I don't even want to watch topless men for 70 minutes. Like I'll be done in 5,
Yeah. Yeah. 10 maybe, but yeah.
Sure. All right. Show off. Okay, so that was Orgy of the Dead. So the final one, the final Ed Wood project, not entirely dissimilar name, Necromania. What do you think Necromania might be about?
Ooh. Were zombie movies a thing?
I mean, yeah, probably. Okay, so I think for this one, Necromania, I think this might be a man loses the love of his life. Let's say there's like a young married couple. Maybe they're just married. In fact, maybe it's just like in The Brain That Wouldn't Die, where there's a young couple in love. He's driving too fast down the road, maybe on the way to get married or on the way to the honeymoon or something. Sharp corner. Oops, she's dead. Oops, her head's fallen off. Oops, she's dead. You know. And so he's lost her. He's driven mad by grief. You know, he's just lost the love of his life. And so he goes to some kind of, like, it's a Pet Sematary scenario. Maybe he goes like a voodoo priest or like, you know, a witch or a wizard or something to have her brought back from the dead. And it's successful. She comes back, you know, she's back from beyond the grave, but she's not back the way she was before. You know, it's like they don't come back the same, to quote Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
So now he's got to live with having an undead wife who behaves very strangely, and he's trying to act like everything's normal. Like that TV show as well, that zombie TV show with Drew Barrymore. Did you ever watch it?
The something diet?
The Santa Clarita Diet, yeah.
Santa Clarita Diet,
it could be like that. Like, yeah, he's trying to like live in this very like white picket fences 1950s, you know, suburb, and his wife's like, you know, very like blonde and baking cookies and all, you know, 1950s housewife, but she's also secretly dead. And it's he's trying to like keep up appearances and try and like, you know, not let anyone realize that she's passed on. And maybe like her body starts falling apart, or maybe she does start to eat people, you know.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I'm just thinking Necromania, maybe there's also like a sexual, I mean, there's going to be a sexual element to it based on the other two.
Do you think it would have any crowd scenes?
Crowd scenes? Like crowd of topless ladies dancing for 70 minutes, or?
No, I mean more like, maybe it's like suddenly everybody's into shagging the dead.
Ooh, yeah, maybe. Oh, okay. Maybe one of the things that's changed about her...
Necromania is like Beatlemania.
You're right. You know what I think it is? So he's trying to keep things under wrap, keep things as normal as possible. But one of the things she's developed since coming back from beyond the grave is an insatiable sexual appetite.
Okay, yeah.
And it turns out that sex, constant sex, is the only thing that can keep her, the magic that keeps her alive together. Maybe like orgasms are what like rejuvenate her. So maybe if she doesn't have an orgasm within a few hours, like she'll start rotting and falling apart and stuff. So she has to be constantly in a state of constant sexual excitement. And he just can't keep up with it. Like, you know, it's just too much. He needs a break. So she starts shagging the whole town. Like she starts shagging like men, women, you know, everything, just whatever. Just she becomes like this sexual monster essentially. Maybe she starts feasting on other women as well. Like, the men have to shag her, and the women she has to like drink their blood or something. And soon there's this whole town full of like sex crazed women, sex crazed undead women. Yep. And so yeah, it ends with like a big beach party, like a 60s beach party, you know, like where they're all like dancing on the beach and doing like the da 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 da, and they're all undead, and it's just a big old sex necromania orgy with loads of like Woodstock for undead nymphomaniacs.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Okay,
I'd watch that.
I bet you would. Well, let's see how Ed Wood did, shall we? Necromania. A married couple, good start, are having sexual problems. Still good. I mean, so far so good. And they decide to employ the assistance of a necromancer called Madam Heels.
Is that like heels as in the verb, or heels as in the noun?
It's heels spelt Helles, but apparently it's pronounced heels. So.
Okay, so it's not like heels as in she does healings, and it's also not like heels as in like she's got a great set of shoes. Yeah,
both of those work. I think it could be she heals you, but also she'll walk up and down your spine in sexy stilettos or something. Yeah. Who knows?
So did you say walk up and down your spine in sexy stilettos?
Yeah, you know, like that's a thing. That's a fetish. You know, men with like high heel fetishes.
Is it?
Yeah. I've been listening to a lot of Kirsty MacColl recently. You know that song, In These Shoes? Do you know that song?
No. Well, not by name, at least.
Well, you'd know if you heard it. It's that one. It was the theme tune to the Catherine Tate show, but it was like... There's a line in it like, won't you walk up and down my spine? It makes me feel strangely alive. In these shoes, I doubt you'd survive. It's a kind of a comedy song. Anyway, just that made me think of it. So, never mind.
I think of anything worse than somebody walking up and down my spine in stilettos.
Well, it's like
horrifically painful.
Yeah, I think it's like a massive. I'm not saying. I mean, I'm not endorsing it. I'm just saying that, like, it's like a fetish. It's like being whipped or something. It's like pleasure pain.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this one sounds like it will do you permanent damage to your back.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Like a whipping, I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not necessarily engaged in it, but it's not going to do you permanent damage. It'll probably just
depends on the
sting
whip
a little bit. Might leave a little cut on your arm.
Sure. Suspiciously specific there, Harry. What's it?
You try talking about whipping without making it sound specific.
Fine. Anyway, so it's not that.
Hey, stop whip shaming me.
I'm not whip shaming you. Do whatever you want.
I feel like you are.
I'm not whip shaming you. Anyway, so they go to this necromancer called Madam Heels. Madam Heels' assistant, Tanya. strangely normal, like bog standard name, like Madam Heels and Tanya. Madam Heels' assistant Tanya takes care of them both physically. I think we all know what that means.
Yes, okay.
I'm getting a real sense that Edward's later films there's a very swift decline into softcore porn.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So Tanya takes care of them both physically before they meet the necromancer herself.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out that Madam Heels sleeps in a coffin and keeps her house as a prison filled with couples who are having sexual difficulty.
Oh,
and she keeps them in a constant group orgy, I think is, from what I can make sense of this plot.
A constant group orgy? What, like, as in... See, I'm now imagining, like, how supermarkets are these days. Like, one in, one out.
Yeah.
Like...
No, I think it's more like when... It's like the mafia. When you're in, you're in. It's like... You can't... It never stops, and they have to constantly bring in new couples to refresh them as they maybe drop dead from sexual exhaustion or something.
Yeah.
As far as I understand, that's the plot. So they get brought into this Madam Heels' house, and it turns out there's like all these young couples trapped in a permanent orgy, and they become part of it. And then in the end, they escape. And that's Necromania.
It's not quite what we pitched.
Not quite, no. But that is the genius of Ed Wood. We can only aspire,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was quite a lot of fun. I think we did a good job there.
Yeah, do you want to do any more, or are you calling it a day?
They're the only three I had written down. I can look at some other Ed Wood titles, though. So he had a film called The Sinister Urge.
Ooh. See, now, these all sound very similar.
I think they are.
That one's got to be sexual. It just has to be.
Well, I mean, there's another one called Jailbait.
Okay.
The Astounding She-Monster.
The Astounding She-Monster.
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Do you want to know anything about that one, or?
Oh, yeah. What's it about?
The Astounding She-Monster focuses on a geologist, a gang which has kidnapped a rich heiress, and their encounter with a beautiful but deadly female alien who has crashed to Earth.
Ooh.
It sounds pretty much nonsensical.
Wonder how many one takes were in that.
Yeah. There's Night of the Ghouls. Sounds fairly standard. Anatomy of a Psycho. Married Too Young. There's no plot description of that one. Shotgun
Good,
Wedding.
I think.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. The Love Feast.
The Love Feast.
Yeah.
Again, it just sounds like an orgy.
Yeah, I think it might be. Oh, here's what I like. Mrs. Stone's Thing. Mrs. Stone's Thing. And, here's one you'll like. Nymphocycler.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. And then they just get worse from there. The Undergraduates, the Class Reunion, the Snow Bunnies.
He did go into porn. So.
Yeah. Fugitive Girls. The Beach Bunnies. Oh, Beach Blanket Bloodbath. I like that.
That does sound good, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on to listener submissions then?
We could do this all day. There's literally hundreds of these.
Leave that for after the show.
Sure. Okay. Listener submissions. Do you have any this week?
Yeah, I've got a few here.
Good.
So first up, I've got Ross Burton.
Of course.
He says, Edward Woodward.
Oh, yes, Edward Woodward, as in the guy from that film, The Wicker Man. The Wicker Man, yeah.
Sure. Andrew Gibson says, Edward 2, cover the time that he became a porn director.
I think we've pretty much covered that, yeah.
Yep. James Ashton says, a prequel called Ed Did.
Ed Did, I like that, that's good. Is that another porn, though, like Ed Did Dallas or something?
Sure. Patrick Holscher says, how much wood would Edward Woodchuck chuck if Edward could woodchuck wood?
I don't feel like you read that correctly, but yes, I get the idea.
I feel like I did, and believe me, I am going to have to read more of those. He has also replied to his own comment.
Oh, I see.
Semicolon, the fantabulous emancipation of one Edward.
I like it. Okay.
Somebody's commented, Wood Brothers, and have said, no, they prefer the term bundle.
Oh, God. I like that. I like where that went. Yeah. I also like Wood Brothers, Blood Brothers. Yeah.
Ahmed Ali says, Edward 2, Return of Edward Scissorhands, Demon Barber of the Corpse Bride.
Oh, okay, so it's a bit of a
just like
Tim Burton, Johnny Depp greatest hits. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
PJ Brandon has just posted a meme here. It's Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park. Your scientists were so preoccupied about whether they Ed could, they never stopped to think if they Ed should.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Makes good sense. Makes good sense. And last couple here. Alex Brown says, I don't know, but Edward Woodward would.
Okay, I get it, yeah.
And then Adam Boyd says, Ed might.
Ed might. Very, very good. Okay, I've got some as well. Dennis Fanning said Ed Twood. Ed nice. 2 would. Andy Hunt just said the disaster artist. Sure. Michael Renner said, it's about how everyone who acted in Ed Wood has progressed since then. It's a meet-up 10 years later with actors playing the actors who played the actors in the film. So I guess that could be like... Because it does have an interesting cast. Like, you know, Bill Murray's obviously now gone on to be this, like, strange cultural phenomenon. Johnny Depp's career has been very much up and down. Sarah Jessica Parker's gone and done a whole Sex in the City thing. You've got Patricia Arquette's won an Oscar now. You know, there's a lot going on with this cast, so that could be fun.
Yeah.
Zachary Pierce said, Ed Good. Ed Wood realises that some of the mistakes he's made while filmmaking could be corrected and takes into consideration the critiques of his peers. So
very good, yeah.
Ed becomes a good filmmaker, yeah. Over on Twitter, Martin Gardner at MG Loves Fun said, Ed Wood Scissorhands, the plot writes itself.
Of course.
And we had a few plays on that as well. Ryan Kleemer said, Ed Wood Clapboard Hands. You know, clapboard, like, you know.
Ah, yeah.
Gene Weber said, Ed Wood Penis Hands. Michael King said, Ed Wooder. Same movie, but it's set in Philadelphia, starring Charlie Day. So I guess that's like Ed Wood as an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I could see that, actually. I could really see that. Like, Charlie directs a film.
That'd be some good fun.
And it's all filmed in black and white, like Ed Wood. That could really work, yeah. Ryan Kleber also said, Ed Wood, bark for more. No, bark, wood. And Ryan's final idea, M. Night.
Nice.
Yep, so last two on Twitter again. At Self-Shoots said, the education of Mr. Wood. Ed Wood makes a comeback by starting his own YouTube page.
Okay.
So I guess the next step is to become like a YouTube broadcaster. And finally, Cinema Adventure Pod at Cine Adventure Pod said, same film, but it's all about the making of Cats. Very, very good.
Very good, yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you everybody for those sequel ideas. We ask for your listener submissions every week, a few days before we record, by putting posts out on Facebook and Twitter, where you can post your ideas. So make sure you like and follow our pages if you don't want to miss out. To listen to more episodes of Beyond the Box Set, you can subscribe and browse our back catalogue on any podcasting platform, including iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and many others, all of which you can also leave a 5-star review, which really helps us out, so please do consider doing that on your preferred platform. We're also available on Patreon, which is exclusively for the people who would rate us more than 5 stars if they could. You can find all the links to all those things in the description below or at beyondtheboxset.com. And next week, Harry, throwing the ball back to you.
All right, Don. Well, I'm still sticking with my little personal mini-season since I absolutely bombed when I did The Room a couple of weeks back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're not doing another really depressing one, are you?
Not at all. My little personal mini-season, if you're interested, thank you for asking, I am doing films that are solid choices. They're not risky, but they're going to be good. Sometimes risky can be great, but I'm just going to make sure, minimum, they're all good films.
Okay, so this didn't start with the Room, right? With Room, because that was the opposite.
No, certainly not. No, it was in reaction to The Room.
Oh, I see.
The Room, I knew I picked a very bad film.
Okay, so what did we do last week?
Prestige.
Okay, so we're
I knew that would at least be interesting to talk about.
Yes, and it was. Okay, cool. Yeah. So your mini season is just picking decent movies?
Well, not risking the choice of picking a bad movie, which clearly you're not doing.
Oh, no, I'm all about the risk-taking,
Yeah. And, this is a prime example of when it doesn't pay off.
All right, fine.
So, take that insult with a grain of salt. So, yeah, this coming week, well, actually, last week I watched this film on Netflix. So this film is a Netflix film. Anybody can watch it. It's called The Perfection. I don't think you'll have heard of it, because I hadn't heard of it.
No, it rings a bell, but maybe because it's just a very generic title.
It's quite generic, yeah.
What can you tell me about it?
It stars the girlfriend from Get Out.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, is it a new film?
Fairly recent, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure when it is, but she looks about the same age, so it's probably quite recent.
Well, she's now 92 years old, so yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. I would say go into it blind if you can.
Okay.
I really enjoyed just being taken on a journey by this film.
Okay, sure.
I urge listeners to do the same. This film is thoroughly enjoyable.
Okay, I know nothing, so I will absolutely go in blind.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been able to do that.
Yeah, so join us next week, everybody, for The Perfection. If you want to, just a quick reminder, do a little Friends quiz this coming Friday. Go to youtube.com/beyondtheboxset or beyondtheboxset.com/friends. Either one. Both of them work, whatever. And, see you there. Enjoy. I'll be there for you.
Oh, very good, Harry. Very good. See you then. Bye.
Great. Thank you, everybody, and see you next week.
Thanks a lot. Bye now. Bye.
Bye.
Do I really have a face like a horse?